Obviously, the first thing you're going to want to know is how do you get to the data that are transmitted. So from our website, go to the support menu, Iridium Data Login, put in your username, which is going to be your email address, and then enter your password. And keep in mind, whoever has your username and password will be able to access your data. So if you want to share access to data, just let them have your username and password. Then on the screen, the first thing you're going to see are the positions transmitted from the device that has most recently sent data. And that's just where you're going to land. If you want to see data for the rest of your devices, or for this device, you're going to go to Data, Positions. Then you're going to have your positions listed here, and you can export them as KML, export as CSV, or plot on a map, and you're going to choose your date from and date to for that data that you're going to export. And if you want to see other callers, here in this box where it says IMEI number and nickname, you click and you can just enter the nickname or part of the IMEI and it will bring up that next caller or backpack. Then other things that you can do from this website are you can see your messages. So this particular device had a mortality event, and then it had another mortality event, and then it had an alive event. The mortality and alive messages are displayed here, as well as when the collar was turned on. From this website, you can also go to the commands, send, and choose the device you want to send commands to. Then you select a command. After you select the command, then you can input the information about that command. Now what we've done here is we're changing the interval for the Iridium uploaded temps, and you have a choice which it's indicated between 5 and 11,520 minutes, and you would enter that there and then move it to the message. So you move the command to the message here. Last thing is you're going to click send this message. You can accumulate as many of these as you want into one message. That way you just send one message. In the user software, set a GPS schedule either in template mode, where you can use up to 20 unique templates that have times in the day scheduled, and then you apply those into days in the year and subsequent years, or use repeat mode where you're using a simple interval and the GPS will turn on at that interval. And you can also choose your timeout, and regardless of which one you choose, the user software indicates battery life. But for this particular product, the software is incorrect. You need to contact Telemetry Solutions to get the valid battery life information, and we are happy to help you with that. GPS timeout is an important consideration when you're building up a GPS schedule. The GPS timeout is the limit for the GPS to remain on before it will automatically turn off, regardless of whether or not a position has been acquired. Equally as important is a setting called GPS add time. We just learned that the timeout is the limit that the GPS can be on. Add time is a number of seconds that are added to the GPS on time after a position has been acquired and could be stored to memory. the intent is to increase precision, and the penalty is battery life. So you lose battery the more add time you have. So let's say you had a timeout of 60, which restricts the GPS to 60 seconds before it has to turn off, regardless if it got a position. If, for example, the position was acquired after 15 seconds, then the GPS could turn off then, but the position might not be as accurate as it could. So if you put 60 in GPS add time, it took 15 to get the position. We're going to add 60 before we store it, but we can't go past 60, so we're really adding 45. You will get more precision, but you're using 60 seconds every time. That's GPS add time. Contact us if you need further clarification. You'll never need 60 seconds, by the way. It's very important to make sure that you set your drop off if equipped, but make sure that you set it into the future. If you leave it at the default that is 2006, then it will drop off as soon as you disconnect when you're setting up your programming. So make sure it's in the future. You can always change it later before you deploy, but the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's in the future. And this is where you set up the drop-off date and time. You can set it to whatever day and time you like, and then when you upload the programming file into the collar, you will have the drop-off date set. And it might be a good idea to record a screenshot of what that is. You can do that on the settings page. You'll see the drop-off date right here. Determining the battery life of your device is complicated, and it's critical that you work with us when you are building your schedule so that you know what your battery life is going to be, because there's no way for you to know unless you talk to us. There's over 300 different battery combinations, so we will build a unique file for you. It's best to do that while we're having a conversation, and then you can base your decisions on that conversation and then go ahead and set up your collars according to what we talked about, knowing what your battery life is going to be. Your Iridium device also has two other data transfer methods. Those are long-range radio and Bluetooth, and those both download automatically to the base station, which you will have, which means that if you can get this base station within range of a collar, any data that are in the memory that have not already been transmitted by the Iridium device will be transmitted to the base station so that you have all the data in the base station. And this works seamlessly with the Iridium download. So you don't need to worry that you're interrupting anything. You can always get your downloads by long range and by Bluetooth using the base station. The base station has a few features that can make it quite useful. First of all, it's automated, so it doesn't require a human operator. It has a 4-day battery life before it needs to be recharged. However, if you choose to leave it in the field, you can have it charged externally with a 12-volt battery, quite easily charging the base station through a 12 to 5-volt converter that plugs directly into the USB port on the base station. If you're using the base station as a mobile device, it has a magnet mount so that you can put it on the top of a truck, and using the app you can know what's happening in the base station when you're inside the truck, and we'll talk more about the app in the next section. The app allows you to see what's happened inside the base station, and in the case that you see on the screen, we see that 100% of the data have been downloaded from 4 different devices. The app has much more information that it can give you, and it can also inform you in the field when a download has begun so that you can stop moving and make sure you stay within range of that download. We have 3 videos on our YouTube channel that explain the app in great detail. It's very important that before you deploy your collars, you test them to make sure they're taking GPS positions on the schedule that you expect, as well as contacting Iridium satellites, sending data, and that data are landing on the database. If you neglect this step and deploy with a single mistake in the programming, you could be risking all of your data. So we really encourage you to verify all your settings by testing the collars before you deploy. When testing your collars, be sure to have your base station turned off so that if it's within range of your collars while they're attempting to upload by Iridium, that they won't download to the base station first, because that will totally mess up your test. So turn the base station off via the app and run your test outside with your GPS collars. When you're ready to turn the GPS collars off, apply a magnet at the dot on the bottom part of the collar. When you're ready to use your GPS, be sure to remove the magnet, and you should expect everything to go well as long as you tested and confirmed all of your settings before you deployed.